Welcome, everyone, to day one of Food Revolution Network's Powered by Plants Challenge. 30 plants in 3 days. I'm Ocean Robbins, CEO and co-founder of Food Revolution Network, and I'm so excited to be here with all of you as we kick off this challenge together. I want to start today by taking just a moment to honor all of our friends, all of our loved ones in the Los Angeles area. The LA fires are causing untold devastation to so many people's lives, and I want us all to just take this moment to send them our love and our prayers. I think that times of crisis can serve to remind us all of our vulnerability and also of our common humanity. So, remembering both, I want to say how grateful I am to be here with all of you right now as fellow humans who are aware of our vulnerability, who are aware of our common humanity, and who are interested in making our health, our lives, and our world a bit of a better place. With all that said, let's move into our challenge, and we have a simple goal here together to get you, all of us, eating 30 plants in just 3 days. Whether this is your first step towards making plant-powered choices that can boost your health, or your millionth step, you're in the right place, and we're going to have so much fun together. This challenge is brought to you by FRN's premier membership community, Whole Life Club, which is also called WLC. And I'm thrilled to be here today with all of you participating and also with some of the key leaders of WLC, including Nicole D'Andrea Russert, registered dietitian nutritionist and lead faculty member of FRN's plant-based coaching certification. Nicole is also co-author with me of our fabulous and newest cookbook, Powered by Plants. Nutrient-loaded 30-minute meals to help you thrive, which has the same name as this challenge. There's no coincidence there. Nicole, would you like to share a few words with us?
Absolutely. Hi, Ocean, and hello, everyone. I am so excited to join you for this incredible 3-day plant-powered challenge. It is such a joy to connect with you all as we explore how eating 30 plants in just 3 days it can nourish your body, your mind, and even nourish the planet. So whether you're a seasoned plant-based eater or just beginning on this journey, I'm thrilled to be here to cheer you on and to share in the fun and delicious experience. Ocean,
What?
back to you.
Thank you. Wonderful. Next, we have Rosie McKay, our community nutritionist, who creates many of the delicious recipes you will find in Whole Life Club and who hosts our In the Kitchen live events for the club. Rosie.
Hi, Ocean. Hi, everybody. Welcome. My name is Rosie. As mentioned, Ocean, I am the community nutritionist, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys today and every day through the next 3 days for this challenge, embracing the abundance of plants, all the colors, the nutrients, and even helping along with some of the culinary aspects to plant-based eating. So I'm looking forward to getting started. Back to you, Ocean.
Wonderful, Rosie. And also Will Benitez, our community success manager, who, using his nutritional expertise and passion for plant-based eating, ensures that every single one of our community members has a top-notch experience. Will?
Thanks, Ocean. Hi, everyone. And yes, thank you for the introduction. So I echo what Nicole and Rosie have shared, and I'll add that I'm very much looking forward to exploring this topic of plant-based variety with everyone, answering some questions in the chat as well, and then certainly looking forward to the culinary demos that are to come.
Wonderful, wonderful, Will. Thank you. Now, throughout these next 3 days, our goal is to make it simple and delicious for you to enjoy more diversity to your meals by adding 30 unique plant foods to your diet. So every day we're going to focus on a theme to guide you forward. Today is day one, and our theme is inspiration. Tomorrow, our theme will be knowledge, and on day three, our theme will be action. There will also be a recipe demo each day where Rosie or Nicole will show us how to create some wonderfully delicious and super nourishing recipes. Today's recipe demo will be 12 ingredient superfood salad bowl with creamy citrus dressing. I hope you brought your taste buds. and your salivary glands, because this is going to be fun. Now, as part of today's inspiration theme, a special guest will be joining us very soon to bring some of that inspirational magic to this challenge. And I'm super excited to speak with her because she is amazing. But before I introduce her, let's cover a few of the challenge logistics. So the challenge is that every day you'll be given the option to create and post a photo of either one of the two daily recipes, each of which is designed with accessible plant-based ingredients to spark creativity and variety. The recipes are included as a PDF in the welcome email we sent when you registered, and you'll also find them on the event broadcast page. Anyone who posts a photo or a description, or ideally both, of their culinary creation for one of the day's recipes will be eligible to win a prize. And that prize is a copy of our newest book, Powered by Plants. Again, nutrient-loaded 30-minute meals to help you thrive. Yes, it is a cookbook. Every day of the challenge, we will announce winners from the previous day's entries. You can also use the comment thread on this page to post questions and celebrations and even requests for support. We're here for you throughout this challenge, so we'll respond to comments and questions as we can, either directly in the comments thread or even some live here during the event. At the end of the day, we're going to tell you about FRN's membership community, Whole Life Club. Normally, the cost to join it is $497 per year, but today you can join with a trial that costs just $1 for the first 30 days and then $197 per year if you stick with it. It's an incredible program, and we will tell you more about it later if you're interested in learning about it. All right, folks, it's now my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker for today, Dr. Brooke Goldner. I just want to confirm, do we have Brooke on here with us yet? Making sure, do we see her in there? Will, do you know? Not yet. Okay. Well, I'm going to start her introduction, and I think she'll be with us soon. And if not, then we'll have time for a few comments. Maybe, Will, you can take a look at some of the comments and make sure we're ready to roll just to respond to folks. Oh, but we're reaching out to her now. So we're expecting Brooke with us any moment. I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about her. So Brooke Goldner is a renowned expert in plant-based nutrition. She's known for her expertise in using plant-based foods to support healing and optimal health. She's the author of Goodbye Lupus. She has helped so many people to reclaim their health and their lives, and she is a phenomenal motivational speaker, as you will see today. So we're expecting Brooke with us momentarily. But in the meanwhile, while we hold the line for that, Will, are we seeing any comments that we should be responding to?
I have just refreshed the page, so we do have some comments here. We have Joan who is saying, happy to be here. I agree. I'm happy to be here. Joan, I'm happy you're here. Thank you for being here. We have a comment that I'd like to make sure I respond to, and for people who aren't checking the chat, hopefully this response helps. But Nancy had said, when I go to the recipes above and then press the print icon, it doesn't seem to work. Typically, what I've found is that when you click that print icon on a recipe page, it usually opens up another window on one's desktop, and then from there, you'll want to save the recipe typically as a PDF, and then you can access your downloads or your PDFs from your desktop browser how you normally would, and then you can print. So it's a little bit of a step-by-step process. I did explain it in the chat, and that process does work, and Nancy even confirmed that that works. So hopefully that helps other people as well. Charlene just said, just 10 seconds ago, that Charlene has heard Dr. Brooke Goldner live. She even has 2 of her books. That's wonderful. We're so excited to have Dr. Goldner with us, hopefully soon.
Dr. Goldner is currently trying to get into the event, and she's encountering a technical difficulty, and I think Sierra from our team is helping coach her through that. So she'll be with us at any moment. While we're waiting, Nicole, I just want to ask you real quick if you can share with us what is so important about plant diversity. Like, why did we say 30 plants in 3 days?
Yeah, I love to share that. And I share in Will's enthusiasm for the variety we are about to emphasize over the next 3 days. So, this is really based on a big study that was done called the American Gut Health Study. And what was found, it was over 11,000 participants, citizen scientists. And what was found was that the more diverse amounts of plants they ate, the more diverse their microbiome was. So, a variety of bacteria. And what that translates to is better health. So, better gut health, better digestion, improved metabolism, brain health, heart health, decreased inflammation all around. So, we're finding there have been many follow-up studies since that study, and really the emphasis is just a variety of plant-based foods for gut health and overall health is so important.
It's like every single plant has its own unique nutrient profile. And we think, oh, what's the healthiest food in the world? Some study just came out and said it was watercress, by the way. But, other times people say, oh, it's cabbage or it's kale. Well, it's all of it because everyone has its own unique benefits, its own unique elements. And you get a symphony. It's like asking what's the best or instrument in the orchestra. Well, sure, some people are going to say it's the violin, other people are going to say it's the trumpets, other people are going to say it's the human voice. But at the end of the day, the symphony is the totality of it. And it's that microbial diversity and that fiber diversity that creates such a rich experience for the human microbiome. Brooke is here with us now. Brooke, I already introduced you, so we're just going to dive right in and say welcome. So good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
I know you're with Ocean, so that's a good metaphor. Diving
Hey,
in.
I like it. And Brooke. I mean, we're all about the water between the two of us.
That's right, the brook and the ocean. Good point. Yeah. All right. Well, I just think it's so awesome to have you with us. Can you tell us what inspired you to specialize on food so much, and how has it transformed your approach to health and wellness?
Okay, so I have like 3 hours, right? So what inspired me was really just what happened to me. So a lot of times when people interview me, they ask me, how did you know there was something better than traditional medicine in saving lives? I didn't. I was a good student that went to school and learned what my teachers had to offer between my undergrad, medical school, residency. I was just learning what I thought was the best information there was to save lives. And I had no idea that nutrition had any impact on health. I found out by accident. And as a good student, I incorporate what I learned. So I lived with lupus from the age of 16. And so it was one of the reasons why I wanted to become a doctor was my doctor saved my life. I mean, I was told at 16 I had 6 months to live unless I did experimental treatments like chemotherapy and high dose steroids. And they put me on hormone suppression to stop my puberty. The chemotherapy could cause cancer or ovarian failure. I mean, I was an experiment, but a successful one. And so I developed an awe for what medicine can do, what healthcare can do. I was a fan of pharma, right? I know that's probably a bad word here, but it saved my life. But I was never healthy. So while I didn't end up on dialysis as I expected, I did live with chronic kidney issues. I dealt with chronic arthritis. By the time I was in my 20s, I was having mini strokes, sending blood clots into my brain. And everything was managed with medicine. And I felt very lucky that whenever I almost died, there was a medicine that could save me. But with a chronic disease like lupus, it's never over. That's why they call it chronic, right? It's just, when's the next thing? When's the next thing? And so my goal in life was just to live the best life I could with chronic disease. I was going to achieve everything I could. I was going to help as many people as I could. I was going to love as much as I could. I was going to find joy as much as I could. And I thought that was good enough. And I felt lucky and happy to have the life I had. But I tripped and fell into this. I ended up meeting the man who became my husband, Thomas Tadlock, right as I was graduating medical school. His obsession was in the fitness world, how to use what is the perfect nutrition to create the aesthetically most fit, ripped body. That was his obsession, was how can I manipulate nutrition to make sure everybody gets a six-pack as quickly as possible. Everyone who wants to build muscle can, because even in his graduate program, that information wasn't available. Nobody knew what humans should eat. one guy's high carb, low carb, high fat, low protein, high protein, da, 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 da. And he goes, what is this? We're one species. Why don't any of you know what humans are supposed to eat? When you know what gorillas are supposed to eat, you know what alligators are supposed to eat, and all of you PhDs don't know what humans are supposed to eat. And so it drove him crazy. He was originally a computer scientist where there's always one best solution. And so the biological world made him crazy. So that's what he was studying when I met him. And it worked. He was already pretty famous in the fitness world. He was on MTV training people to look great in their music videos, all that kind of stuff. And we fell in love, and he was brave enough to marry a sick woman, knowing that I couldn't have his children, knowing that he would bury me probably in my 40s to 50s, that I'd become disabled. And he's very, I mean, I think he's very courageous. Or I'm just that irresistible. He says it's the latter. But so what happened was, when we decided to get married, I wanted to look like those people on MTV. I don't know if MTV is a thing anymore. I'm almost 50, so I don't know if it's, but back then MTV was the thing, you know? So I wanted to look like that. So I asked him to put me on a nutrition plan. And the thing was, at the time, he had realized certain things make people fatter. Dairy, terrible. Saturated fats, terrible. So he created a plan that was really a lot of raw foods for metabolism. So the cruciferous vegetables, omega-3 fatty acids for metabolic rate of the cells and recovery from inflammation. And then he thought free range meat was the thing, because he was still studying it, and it was less inflammatory than, farm raised and all that. But I'd become a vegetarian because of your dad, Ocean. It was your dad. I read his book when I was 12. My whole family did. And in New York in the late 80s, no one even heard of the word vegan, even vegetarian. So my family became vegetarian. And so I hadn't eaten meat since I was a child. And I said, there's no way. So I accidentally became vegan. I didn't even know I was a vegan. I just thought I was someone who didn't eat any dairy anymore. At least for now, was a thought. I was eating tons of vegetables. And so he gave me tofu instead of meat. He'd never met a vegetarian before. And I got the same results as everyone else. I went from a size 11 to a size 3 in 3 months. I was ripped. But for the first time in my life, and the first time in my adult life, and since I was 16, I had 0 symptoms of lupus. And shortly after, my lab test showed I was negative. My kidneys healed after 12 years. The blood clots were gone. All the antibodies were gone. And last October, I celebrated 19 years lupus free. I've never had a relapse. So I've done all the things I said I couldn't do, between having children, being on a cover of a fitness magazine at 40 instead of disabled in a wheelchair at 40, still pushing and feeling amazing. I usually meet people half my age who are complaining about aging. I'm like, what? Aging's awesome, right? So so when it happened for us, we couldn't hold that miracle back, but we had to understand it. We're scientists, and we weren't going to just say, hey, do what I did. What if it was his love that healed me? Can he love everyone? Does everyone get a turn? Like, what do we do? So we had to make sure it was reproducible. So we studied intensively to understand how nutrition impacts cellular repair and inflammation, to see how in the world it could have happened. And then we tested it on free volunteers who were willing to eat that much raw vegetables. It's harder to find than you think. And once we proved the outcome was always the same, that everyone could get better, we published it and gave it to the public. So yeah, it was a beautiful accident that came from love. And we love everybody. We want everyone to have a story like ours, where they could live their dreams and grow old the person they love. And so we believe it's important that that's something that we gift to the public.
What a beautiful, beautiful story. And we love everybody too, and want everybody to be able to live their dreams and give their body the fuel it needs to thrive, and
Absolutely.
Your story is such an incredibly dramatic example of what can happen, if we follow the norms of our times, and what can happen when we make a change, and the incredible benefits that can ensue. And the amazing thing, I think, is that it's not like there's one best diet for cardiovascular health and one best diet for cancer prevention and one best diet for autoimmune conditions, right? Like, the reality is that essentially, sure, there's some little nuances, but essentially, eating a diversity of whole plant foods, getting all those critical nutrients that you need, moving away from the processed junk, away from excess animal products, all of this helps with everything, right?
Yes.
And
I teach that all the time. Yeah. If someone's telling you, oh, here's your diet for this, and here's your diet for that, and oh, this is for your heart, this is for your thyroid, run. That's not true. There is an
Yeah.
optimal diet for humans. My husband was right. His intuition was correct. I mean, there is an optimal diet. We've just forgotten it because humans are so good at finding ways to get high. It overrides all sense, right? Everybody
Yeah.
knows you shouldn't be watching TV all day eating chips, but it takes a lot of motivation to get up and go running, lift some weights, and then have a green smoothie when you get done, right? Because we're so addicted to the lifestyles we've created. So
Yeah.
it takes so much more than good information to make these changes, right? Because humans, I mean,
Yeah.
I remember in medical school learning that we found Egyptian hieroglyphics that were recipes for beer. Humans, for all of our existence, have been finding ways to get high. The problem is it's too convenient now. And so it's very difficult to do what we now know is right. And I always want to acknowledge that because it is everything's set up against people who are trying to do this, right? I mean, I'm sure people listening to us right now, for many people, this isn't their first time listening to this kind of information, but it's so hard to make those changes. You know, only 9% of people fulfill their New Year's resolutions by the end of the year. Most of them quit by the second week,
Yeah.
right? And so I always want to acknowledge that it's difficult and also praise people who are still trying, who are still showing up and learning more and giving it another go, because those are the people who succeed.
Well, we're right in that second week right now here, so it's a good time to be having this conversation.
Yes.
And it's not really about New Year's resolutions, it's about habits and how you build
Right.
those habits day in and day out that support life instead of sapping it away. You know, a lot of people struggle with getting started on a healthier path. What advice would you give someone who feels overwhelmed about making healthy dietary choices?
So much. So neurobiology is actually my original specialty. And I actually just did a whole big YouTube training. So on my channel, I'm always trying to teach the public, but a whole training on the parts of the brain involved in habit versus new things that we do, right? So it's totally different parts of the brain that do that. And so when you have a new thing you're trying to do, it takes a lot of focus and attention, right? Like if you remember the first time you learned to do anything, ride a bike, drive a car, at first it's like, what am I doing? What do I go? No, 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 no. You know, you're constantly adjusting and it's exhausting to put that much attention on things. But when something's a habit, you can do it without thinking, right? Like I don't think about brushing my teeth. My hand just does it and I'm thinking about other things, right? But as a toddler, I'm sure it took a lot. So one thing that's important for people to realize is it's only difficult at first. At first, it feels overwhelming because it's not a habit and it takes attention and planning. But once it becomes a habit, it will be the same as brushing your teeth or anything else. So acknowledging that the difficult part is temporary. But when you're trying to make those new habits, the things that I help people do, and a lot of times I work with people every day, just because for some folks, they need that to get there, right? But if you're doing this, the things that help people work. One is learning the right information. They're doing that right here with you, right? Number two, make a schedule you can stick to. Hoping that you do what you said you were going to do tomorrow that's not going to work, right? So you have to make a schedule. Whether it's here's the time when I shop, here's the time when I food prep, here's the time when I eat my meals, right? Because you're trying to do something new. A schedule takes away some of the stress. A phone alert to let you know, oh, time to eat or time to go to the store. Very, very helpful. Accountability is essential in doing something new. So having some kind of accountability partner or trainer or coach. We have a free group on Facebook, Smoothie Shred, where we encourage people to post and encourage each other, as well as like programs to work with us directly. But, you know, sometimes just having a friend that you check in with every day and say, hey, let's meet at the gym, or let's, hey, did you have your smoothie yet today? Did you, something like that, somebody else that's involved where you feel like you're not all alone in it, making sure you're continuing to stay motivated with whatever content motivates you, whether it's books, whether it's podcasts. That's why I post every day on social media. I wouldn't do social media if it wasn't for my people in the public saying that that's what's keeping them on track. I'm like, okay, like do that. So find your motivational content. There's so much of it out there. I mean, you do a lot of wonderful content for people. I do coaching every week on Wednesdays, live for the public on YouTube, like whatever it takes to keep yourself like in the mindset so you don't drift, because environment tends to win. And if you don't fill your environment with things that motivate you to stay on the plan, you're going to drift back into what everyone else is doing. And the other thing I find that really helps people stick with a new thing is making sure that you take time to celebrate what you're getting right every day. People tend to be hard on themselves. And it's like, oh, I drank my green smoothies, I ate my salad, but then I ate that cake. I screwed it all up. Forget it. You can celebrate the smoothie, celebrate the cake, and then just not the cake, celebrate the smoothie and the salad, then make a game plan for the cake. Like, okay, well, why did I do that? Oh, it's because I bought it. Or it's because I didn't tell my family that
Mhm.
I, to keep it away. And so if you can celebrate what you're doing right and then just let yourself make plans to overcome what you're doing wrong, you will eventually find yourself living in that space where it becomes a habit. It doesn't take all that mind space, and you feel really proud of yourself every step of the way.
Yeah. Habits by their nature become entrenched and they become deeper and easier for the brain. The brain loves simplicity. It doesn't like to have to work really, really hard. And it can only do so many new things, and you only have so much willpower in a day. So I think the right use of willpower is habit formation. And then
Right. And why
sort of
power?
managing to keep with those healthy habits.
It's the why power that builds willpower, right? That's what your dad told me. You love my why power, right?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
willpower is like the white knuckling, like, oh, I want that cookie, I'm not gonna eat it, right? Why power is like, I can either have my kidneys or the cookie. To throw the cookie. I actually
Right.
had someone do that once where I was coaching someone in dialysis, and they put one of those processed protein bars in front of her, and she had been eating those, and it was affecting because her kidney function shooting up. I've gotten people off of dialysis before, but not eating that crap. So the nurse put it in front of her, and she goes, see, look. I said, throw it. Now, I was kidding. She chucked it and hit the nurse with it. She hit the nurse. He's
Oh
fine,
no.
but they stopped giving her protein bars, so it worked out.
Okay. You know, can you tell us, like, from at a biological level, what is happening to the human body when we saturate our body with awesome, healthy phytonutrients?
Oh man, phytonutrients, just the word gets me all excited. So, what we're talking about with phytonutrients is a fancy way of saying nutrition supplied by plants, which is where nutrition comes from, right? Vitamins, minerals, wonderful different kinds of antioxidants, different micronutrients. All those are necessary for cellular function as well as cellular repair. So, they're so popular that you can pay for supplements. Unfortunately, that can sometimes cause overdose. I've actually treated people who've overdosed in things like B6 and cause nervous system abnormalities. Like you can't just, you have to be careful about what you supplement. But with nutrition, your body takes in what it needs, and the rest just goes into the septic system, right? But all these are necessary for cell repair, and that's what my husband and I found through our years of research is that what people are missing is more linked to their current health than even some of the bad stuff they eat. So, and I found that even helping people on plant-based diets recover their health is they're not eating nutrient-dense foods. They're maybe sticking to stuff that's low-level nutrition, but not getting in that the fresh vegetables, for example. So they all have different jobs, but they're necessary for the different functions that occur that create our metabolism. So metabolism is not only how quickly you can burn fat. I was at boot camp this morning and boof, I know I got some today, right? But also how quickly your body can repair damage, how quickly your body can return to baseline after going through some kind of stressor, right? When you get a cold, are you sick for a week or are you sick for 24 hours? People who work with me, 24 hours if they get sick at all. The common person can have a flu for a week or two. So your metabolism is also a measurement of how quickly your body can return to baseline, and that is dependent on the availability of nutrients. I like to think of them like Lego sets, because I had a son that was just so obsessed with Legos that when you are building a Lego set, there's instructions. Your DNA has the instructions, and then all the different colored pieces and all the different shapes all fit together to create this beautiful thing. If you can't find a Lego, and it would happen sometimes, I would say, well, you're missing this. This one will work. And your body will do that because it wants to keep us alive. It's beautiful. So even if you're eating the wrong stuff, your body will go, well, this is the right thing we need. That will fit. Let's just put that there. But if you keep using the wrong pieces, eventually the structure won't even resemble what it's supposed to. And that's what's happening with chronic disease. Eventually, it's just not working anymore. But we found by flooding people with micronutrients, and you don't have to be like, oh, let me eat this color, this color, this color. If you do something like kale, has more micronutrients than any other thing combined. If you just start with one, I know you like people to eat the spectrum, but if you start with just adding like a pound of, cruciferous a day, kale, cabbage, that kind of stuff, you're going to be flooded with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and your body will incorporate those and start improving cellular function. It'll take out the wrong Lego pieces and start putting in the right ones. Same with like flax and chia seeds, getting your omega-3s. It'll knock out the excess omega-6. Suddenly your cells are functioning better, communicating better, and you're healing faster. So it's where your body takes all of those Lego pieces that it needs from. And the good thing is our cells are constantly renovating themselves. And so even if you've spent decades giving it the wrong thing, if you start nourishing yourself properly, especially hyper nourishing, the way people teach, like overdose on the good nutrients, then you'll start finding your health recovers really, really quickly. So it's really beautiful. I mean, they've studied separate ones. Like I love talking about sulforaphane from cruciferous vegetables. It's just one micronutrient. And what they found is just sulforaphane alone blocks COVID virus from replicating as well as the flu virus and brings down inflammation in the lungs. No wonder the folks in my rapid recovery group weren't getting COVID symptoms when everyone else was during the pandemic, right? That they were just saturated in that. It's also been shown to kill cancer cells. It's also been shown to be killed off by even light cooking, which is why I love people having raw foods, especially green smoothies. That's why I still drink them, right? So it's one of those things where just adding what you're missing will start to fill you up. It makes it less stressful that you have to be perfect, and it'll give your body what it needs. It doesn't need your instructions. It already has them. It just needs you to supply it those micronutrients, and they come mostly from the raw vegetables. Oh, you're muted, my friend. I'm a terrible lip reader.
Oh my goodness, I was muted. I was saying that is so inspiring, and Brooke, I just love it. Okay, well, our goal today is inspiration, and you're certainly getting us kicked off on the right foot, so to speak. Any last words of inspiration you want to share before we move into the next phase of our challenge today?
Well, then you're so pumped up. You're pumping me up more, and I don't need that. I'm already told I'm hypomanic. I think what I want people to think about, if you're trying to get motivated, is number one, really find your reason. Not like I want to look better, I want to feel better, but your reason, the life that you're not living now that you want to live, what makes it worthwhile for you to have some hard now that's going to pay off later. People focus too much on, do I feel like eating a salad or not, versus like, do I feel like being able to tour through Europe and not have my legs so achy that I can't make it, right? To have really big dreams that you're moving towards, because then every bite of fresh vegetables is a step towards your dream, right? And not just a willpower situation. Why power is my jam. It really, really works. Two, like I said, celebrate everything you're getting, right? And start where you can. If you're not ready to give up all the junk, but you're willing to just add a smoothie a day where you're getting in some nutrients, start there and let yourself work your way up, because that might make it easier. Some people are all or nothing. And I always say, don't do all or nothing, do and. Start with and allow yourself to get nourished. You'll start feeling the difference, and you'll start wanting to eat better as well. But just start wherever you can, because there's people out there who love you, who need you to do it.
My top 2 takeaways lines from today. Would you rather have your cookies or your kidneys? And every plate of fresh vegetables is a step towards your dream. Dr. Brooke Goldner, thank you. Everyone, she's got amazing books. You can find them on Amazon, amazing programs. Your website again is Goodbye Lupus.
Yep, goodbyelupus.com.
Yeah,
that's right.
Goodbyelupus.com. Yeah. Brooke, thank you so much for joining us and for your brilliant work. It's been such an honor to share this time with you today. We'll let you go and move on, everybody, with the next phase of our challenge. And I'm going to hand it over to you now, Will.
Thanks, Ocean. Wow, I wish we could chat all day with Dr. Goldner. She was truly so inspiring and lively. Her energy was just what we needed on this day 1 of our challenge. I love that bit about why power and willpower. And I love that that came from your dad, Ocean, John Robbins. But now it's time to dive into our demo, which I said before, I'm really excited about. Nicole, who is passionate about making plant-based eating easy, delicious, and accessible, is going to show us how to prepare a nutritious and flavorful salad bowl that incorporates some of the diverse plants we're focusing on in this challenge. As you mentioned before, Ocean, this is actually one of the 2 recipes for today, and you can access it in the PDF you received when you registered for this challenge. The recipe is also available from the broadcast page. All right, Nicole, if you're ready, take it away.
Yes. Hello. Thanks for the introduction, Will. And oh my gosh, so inspired by Dr. Goldner. I feel like she can be like a natural dose of caffeine for all of us in the morning. She just gives so much energy and radiance. And we're so grateful she was here with us today. And she mentioned kale, a superfood that we are using in today's cooking demo. So if you haven't guessed by looking at the title of the demo for today, 12 ingredient superfood salad, you're going to get 12 superfoods in your just one plate today, and you have the dressing that is going to contain additional superfoods. So in just this dish alone, I wanted to share this dish because, or we wanted to share this dish because it just has such a plethora of nutrients in one bowl. And we wanted to debunk that old myth of, the thought that a salad is a bowl of leafy greens, which is fantastic. And that's it. Maybe some tomatoes and onions, and that's it. A salad can be just like so many things. We have thousands of plants to choose from. So to start, I just wanted to mention with anything, and this was in your instructions or in the PDF that you received with the call today, something that's really important that can make your life so much easier in the kitchen, especially as you embark on a new plant-based journey. I think it can sometimes be defeating, and something new of any kind, it can be a little overwhelming at times. One thing to do in the kitchen whenever you are embarking on a new recipe is to look at the ingredients in total, look at the recipe, read it through, and that'll help you understand what you're getting into before you know, how easy it is, what ingredients you need, what you already have on hand so that you can avoid wasting anything that you already have. And then also what you need. So it helps you to create a list, which you've already done if you prepared for today's lesson. Also, creating a mise en place, little fun mise en place, which means having everything in place and getting out some fun bowls. If you have any fun bowls, I have got these fun little doggy plates that makes cooking much exponentially more fun. But anything you have around the house, you can even reuse condiment containers to use your mise en place. But what that means is measuring everything out ahead of time. Now, this takes a little bit of effort up front, but it makes your life in the kitchen so much easier. It makes recipe creation very efficient. It minimizes stress in the kitchen because you feel organized when you have everything prepared, all of your ingredients prepared and ready to go. Now, today's demo is a no-cook demo. We're not cooking anything today, but when you are cooking something, it's really important to have mise en place ready, because if you have something cooking on the stovetop and then you're scrambling around the kitchen looking for spices or measuring out something or cutting something while something's on the stovetop burning, that could be a disaster in the kitchen. So it's another reason why just having everything out ready to go. It's a little bit upfront work, but trust me, it makes cooking so much more enjoyable in the kitchen. Okay, so I've got everything cut except for one thing today that I wanted to demonstrate with you, and that is our beautiful friend, kale. Dr. Goldner mentioned this is truly, I mean, all plant-based foods are superfoods in their own right. As Ocean mentioned earlier, they all come with their own set of nutrients, different types of fiber that help to nourish the gut and the entire body. But kale is especially special because it is so nutrient dense. And what that means is that it has boatloads of vitamins and minerals. And you can see by the beautiful deep dark green color, tons of phytonutrients. And all of these things are going to help to nourish our body from our feet to our head, our gut. Kale also has a special prebiotic fiber. Prebiotic fiber is a type of fiber that feeds healthy bacteria in your gut. It has a fiber that has been shown to feed healthy bacteria and push out bacteria that is not serving our best health. So if you can incorporate kale into your diet daily, or even at least a few days a week, but a variety of leafy greens are really going to provide you with so much nutrition. And it's one of the hardest things for people to get. It's a lot. What's missing oftentimes, it's not like a convenience food. If we grab chips or cookies and, they're easy to grab, they're not going to support our gut health, but kale is. So you can make kale chips. You can make a big salad like we're going to make today. But what is really important is making it in a way that you enjoy it. So at Food Revolution Network, we always recommend, before saying no to a food that you might not like or you think you might not like, try it several times. I would say at least like 5 to 7 times. Try that food, cut different ways, try it minced, try it chopped, try it shredded, try it raw versus cooked, try it blended in different things from soups to casseroles to salads. It depends on, your own personal palate might find that you like kale chips more than a kale salad. So don't say no to a food until you've tried it several ways, and you might find that you have a new food on your plate that you're like, wow, I had no idea. I really love this food. So what we're going to do today, just wanted to demonstrate how to cut kale. We provided some links to washing fruits and vegetables and how to wash them so that they're preserved longer and you are washing keeping them fresh and washed and ready to go. Typically leafy greens are best washed right before you're ready to prepare them, just because moisture and leafy greens are not friends. If you've ever tried it, moisture can cause them to go limp and bad more quickly. But if you do, I personally like to wash kale ahead of time. It's a hardier leafy green. It's like, it's very hardy if you feel it. And when you chew it, it's very hardy, and it can withstand a little bit more of the washing ahead of time. But make sure you put a paper towel or a tea towel with it in the refrigerator when you're storing it away, so that it captures all that moisture, so it's not on the green. That way you're preserving it for longer. So I washed these last night. They're ready to go. What we have in the kale is a bony rib here in the center. This is edible. If kale's new to you, this bony rib is edible. However, it is very fibrous and it is a little bit more bitter than the actual leaves. I typically, for this salad, we want everyone to enjoy it and it to be flavorful and easy to chew. So for this recipe, we're going to remove that bony center. You can do it one of two ways. You can either I personally like to just rip the leaves right off of it. It feels a little meditative just to get into it and manually do it, but you can also get a knife and precisely around the edges of it, and I'll demonstrate that as well. There we go. Okay, so yeah, you can also get a knife and just slice right down along the edge of the leafy green, and there you have 2 pieces. Now we need 3 cups of kale for this recipe. One thing I was going to mention, what we've been talking about here, is variety. And what you could do if kale is new to you and you're not sure if you want to go all in with kale for this recipe, you could do 1 cup of kale, 1 cup of, say, romaine lettuce, 1 cup of spring greens. So you could do 3 cups of any leafy greens of your choice. And that also helps to give you variety and diversity. So there's a way you can kind of ease your way into introducing kale if it's new to you. If you're a kale lover, then of course, feel free to go all in with 3 cups of kale. Now, one other thing I will say with kale that could be helpful if it's new to you is, and this is something that I actually have to do with my husband because I personally love the taste of kale. He does not. And he will only eat it if it's cut into tiny, tiny pieces like this piece here. So whenever we have a salad, I try to incorporate kale into a salad, but I do mix it with other greens and I cut it into really tiny pieces. And he doesn't even know, it's kind of like you can do the same thing with adults that you do with toddlers. It's the same way maybe you sneak things in with kids, cut it small, hide it in foods, mix it with other things. And now with cutting this, I usually like to roll this up easily just with my fingers, of course, keeping your fingers out of the way. Now, one good sharp knife in the kitchen is really, all you need to get started with a plant-based diet. A nice chef's knife that feels good in your hand. And sharp might sound counterintuitive, like it's dangerous, but actually keeping your knife nice and sharp is what prevents it from sliding off of the food into your fingers. So it's really important to keep your knife sharp. So if you, again, are new to plant-based eating or new getting in the kitchen, investing in one nice wooden cutting board and one nice chef's knife is really all you need to get started. Okay. So now from there, we are going to start adding everything to the bowl. I am going to measure out this kale and cut the rest of it. While I'm cutting the rest of this kale, Will, are there any questions at the moment?
We do have a couple questions actually, and Rosie has been populating those for us. Thank you, Rosie. So Rena asked, is there a substitute for tahini for the salad dressing? So we might be jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm just curious if you can answer that question.
Yeah, tahini. So thanks for the question, Rita. Tahini is, for anyone who's unfamiliar with tahini, it is ground sesame seeds. Sesame seeds can sometimes be an allergy. For those who don't have an allergy, sesame seeds and tahini offer wonderful creamy substitute in dishes. Tahini can be used as a base for plant-based dressings like we're doing today, or sauces. It can be used in place of oil in muffins and baked goods. And what's great about tahini is that it's the whole sesame seed ground. So you're getting the fiber and the vitamin E and all of the nutrients that come with it. That said, if you have an allergy and you're unable to use tahini in this, almond butter or cashew butter or any of the nut or any other, even pumpkin seed butter can be a great substitute for tahini, because nuts and seeds have similar nutrient profiles, like their carbohydrate, protein, and fat are not identical, but they're similar enough that they can be used as substitutions for one another. We want to go into one more, and then we'll go back into the demo, Will?
Yeah, perfect, Nicole. And this one's actually about kale, so I feel like that's really good timing. This one came from, I just had the member name, Melanie. Melanie's asked, can you save the kale ribs to make veggie broth with other veggie bits or ends?
Oh my gosh, Melanie, thank you. I had that in my notes to say, and I forgot. So thanks for reminding me. Yes, please, like these kale ribs, don't let them go to waste. They are excellent for exactly what you mentioned, Melanie. You can cook these down and blend them into a pesto. You can make a dip out of them. You know, if there's a dip that you love to make at home, Dr. Goldner was mentioning just adding foods. You don't necessarily have to go all in. If there's a dip that you love, consider blending some of these kale leaves or kale ribs in there. And that way you're adding some of that plant-based nutrition and that fiber and those nutrients. And you probably won't even taste it in the dip. You can also make a delicious homemade veggie broth, a soup broth with kale ribs, and add other veggie scraps. So I encourage you to keep any vegetable scraps, carrot tops, beet tops, anything that you're not using, don't ditch it. Save it, you can put it in a freezer bag, and when you're ready and you have enough collected, boil it on the stovetop with a soup pot full of water. You can boil it or simmer it for about an hour and then strain it, and you'll have yourself a delicious homemade veggie broth. And then if you're able to compost the veggie scraps after that, that's fantastic. You can also juice these if you are into juicing. Of course, juicing does leave the fiber behind. So juicing is a great thing. It's a great like little extra supplement on top of your diet. But I would say if you're not getting enough fiber yet, make sure you're getting enough fiber before you turn to the juicing components. Smoothies are something that will give you all the fiber, and you can blend those into smoothies too. Smoothies will give you the fiber where juicing leaves the fiber behind. But if you're getting all the fiber you need and you just want a nice little shot of juice for an additional vitamin, mineral, and phytonutrient boost, then we are all for that. All right, thanks for those questions, Rita and Melanie. All right, so we're gonna go back to the recipe. Let's see. Okay, I'm just gonna put the camera down here. So we've got our kale. I'm just going to clean hands here, of course. Like this is a fun time to get the kids in the kitchen too. If you have kids or grandkids, you want to get them involved. You have like a little salad bar here with all of these pre-cut ingredients, and you can even use any substitutions that you know your family loves. So instead of red radish, maybe you do daikon radish, or maybe you do another chopped cauliflower or something else. It's all part of the cruciferous vegetable family. So the options are really, recipes are meant to guide you, and you can use substitutions based on what's available to you or things that you know you and your family love. So we're going to go right down the list here. We have our kale. Let me move this up a little bit. Then we have 1 cup of edamame. This is frozen edamame shelled. It's 1 cup, and I let it thaw. Now, edamame is an immature soybean. Excellent source of plant-based protein, excellent source of fiber, so many phytochemicals that are good for heart health, bone health, lots of minerals, naturally high in calcium. So you're getting so many nutrients in edamame. We have 1 cup of any grain of your choice. You may have noticed in the ingredients that it just says a whole grain. So 1 cup of cooked grain. This is a great opportunity to use something that you have left over in the refrigerator. If you have leftover brown rice or quinoa, use that quinoa rice and add it to the salad. I made bulgur wheat. Now, this is not gluten-free for those who are gluten-free, but I love bulgur. If you've had tabbouleh, you have had bulgur before. It's a beautiful grain that's used a lot in Middle Eastern cooking, Mediterranean cooking, and it's got a really nice nutty, chewy texture. And what I love most about bulgur is that it only takes 10 minutes to cook. So it's a really quick, fast cooking grain. If gluten is not a problem for you, I highly recommend it. It's nutrient dense, lots of fiber, tons of B vitamins, so good. And it really just adds so much delicious texture to this salad. So here's the bulgur. And by the way, when I made this bulgur, I made extra to have on hand for the week because it's so versatile. It could be added to soups, it could be added to casseroles, it can be added to a lot of different things. Then we have our carrots. So we've got a cup of shredded carrots. Shredded these ahead of time. Now you can also use chopped carrots if you like chopped carrots. We have got 4 sliced radishes. And then we have 1/2 cup of red onion. If you don't love red onion, it can be pretty strong in the salad. I think it blends nicely. But if you have white onion, shallots, green onion, of course, you can use another type of pungent ingredient from the allium family, the onion family. And then we have, what's next on the list? We do have avocado as well. We've got chopped avocado. This is going to add some creaminess. It's also a naturally a great source of healthy fats. Avocado is great for heart health. It's good for skin health. It's packed with vitamins and nutrients for skin health and antioxidants. And also, when you have a fat source in your salad, it helps to carry the flavors in a way that makes them exponentially more delicious. And it also helps to increase the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin K, and vitamin E. So it's always nice to have a whole food fat source with any recipe that you're making. We have more healthy fats here. We've got a 1/4 cup of chopped walnuts, high in omega-3 fatty acids. So also very high in antioxidants, great for brain health. They look like a brain. And when you see a whole walnut that's not chopped, and they're also packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which are excellent for gut health and fighting inflammation. We have 1/4 cup of sunflower seeds, excellent source of vitamin E, another antioxidant, a vitamin that acts like an antioxidant. And then we have, this calls for cranberries. So the 1/4 cup of dried cranberries. Now, I couldn't not find unsweetened dried cranberries, so I went for golden berries, and these are often used in Middle Eastern cooking. They have a little bit of a tangy, sour flavor, which I think is going to go really nicely with this. So if something like this happens to you and you can't find an ingredient on the list, try to look for it. We often offer substitutions, or maybe tap into your own creativity and see what you have around the house that you can use. You can use chopped dried apricots. You can use other dried dates, anything that's accessible to you. And then 2 more ingredients. We have 2 tablespoons of hemp seeds, another excellent source of omega-3 fatty acids, as well as protein. There's so much protein in hemp seeds. So this is a plant protein packed salad. And then an optional ingredient is cilantro. So not everybody loves cilantro, or if you know somebody in your family who doesn't love cilantro, you can either put this on the side or use a different herb of choice. Consider maybe dill or parsley or basil. So we've got chopped cilantro here, and adding an herb as another plant-based food. So all of these are delicious plant-based ingredients that are excellent for gut health. All we need to do from here, keeping an eye on the time. I'm gonna speed it up here because I know that we've got limited time. We're gonna toss it, and then we're gonna make the dressing. Now this dressing takes less than 30 seconds. I'm gonna quickly go into the dressing also uses whole food ingredients. So we can talk all day about dressings, but what we do have articles on our website about dressings and using a whole plant-based food. I talked about ingredients that are high in healthy fats. The base of this dressing is cashews. So we're going to add cashews, half of a cup of cashews to the blender. That is going to make this dressing creamy without any cream. If you have a high-speed blender, you don't need to soak the cashews. If you have a regular blender, I would recommend soaking the cashews just so that you get that creamy texture, and then you'll drain them before adding them to the blender. And then we've got one chopped shallot. We have the juice of an orange. This is actually an orange and a half. So we have got half a cup of orange juice. Now you could also use one whole orange if you want to get more fiber. That also works well. Try not to get all of the white pith around it because it might make this bitter. Even though it's a good source of fiber, it might make the dressing a little bitter. And then we have 2 tablespoons of orange zest, a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a tablespoon of tahini, and then one last ingredient. We have the juice of 1 lemon, which is about 2 tablespoons of lemon. And then we're going to blend this, pour it over the salad, and we have our salad that is going to be not just 12 ingredients. Now we added these additional ingredients. So we're gonna have 18 ingredients in this salad alone. I'm gonna put myself on mute for a moment while I blend, and then I'm gonna address it. If Rosie and Will, you wanna see if there are any other questions that we can address in the last, we're over a minute. I know we're over, but maybe we have a minute for a question.
Wow, that is looking like one nourishing salad. I don't know if Nicole, if you can hear me. We did have another question from Charlene. If you can hear me, feel free to answer when you come back off of mute. But the question for everyone, Charlene asked, I was told that kale should be cooked before eating it. Could you explain why it might be okay to eat kale raw? Did you hear that question, Nicole?
I got the end. Why is
Okay.
is it okay to eat raw? Sorry.
No
I really
problem. Charlene asked, I was told that kale should be cooked before eating it. Could you explain why it might be okay to eat it raw?
Oh, kale is definitely excellent raw. So there are 2 thoughts with that. Maybe you were told that there are oxalates in some leafy greens. Kale is actually very low in oxalates. Oxalates can be an issue with kidney stones for those who are prone to them. And sometimes cooking food can decrease the oxalates a little bit. But there are lots of leafy greens that are low in oxalates, like kale, mustard greens, turnip greens. So it may be that reason, but we really recommend kale raw. Is excellent. Honestly, it's really how you enjoy kale the most, however you enjoy leafy greens. If you prefer them cooked, and that's how you're going to get the leafy greens down on the daily basis, then opt for cooked and maybe try to throw in some raw with the cooked. Or if you love it raw, then by all means, enjoy kale raw. That just has boatloads of nutrients. Now, that cooked versus raw is often a question. It's not like a blanket statement, cooked is better than raw or raw is better than cooked for all foods. It's really different. It depends on the vitamins and minerals. So cooking plant-based foods will decrease certain water-soluble vitamins like vitamin C and the B vitamins, but it may enhance vitamin A and some of the fat soluble and some of the phytonutrients. So again, it just comes down to balance and enjoying the foods the way that you enjoy you like eating them. I'm going to pour this on. All right. I know we need to move on here, so I'm going to just pour this over top of the salad and let you all see it. Now, with one last thought, this is looking a little thick. I'm not going to do it now, but if you prefer a thinner consistency for salad dressing, add 1 to 2 tablespoons. This is a pretty good consistency for the salad. But if you prefer a thinner consistency, add 1 to 2 tablespoons of water at a time, or you can add a little more orange juice before you reach the consistency that you like. You don't want to water it down too much because then you'll water down the flavors. But there you go. There is your 16 ingredient superfood salad, or 18. How many? We added 6 in the dressing, so 18 total. And it smells delicious, and I hope you all get an opportunity to try it. Thank you guys. I think I'm turning it back over to
You're turning.
me.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, what an amazing feast. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you. Thank you, Rosie. Thank you for the genius to make healthy, super nourishing food so delicious and so beautiful. What a delight. All right, folks. Well, hopefully you're going to get a chance to make one of our recipes of the day today and post a picture of it and a comment about it on the broadcast page. And then tomorrow, everybody who does so will be eligible to win a prize powered by Plants Cookbook. We'll be giving those away tomorrow in the live broadcast. And now we get to, we're going to have questions and answers in a moment. There's lots coming in. Go ahead and post if you have more for a few minutes. But before that, I want to tell you about an opportunity. Because at FRN, we're all about action. You know, we want to help you get results that you can feel, that you can taste, that you can see, so that you can thrive, so that you can create the conditions for your body to be well, not just now, but long term, with a clear mind, with bounce in your step, with energy, with joy, with passion, so you can do what you were born to do, so you can feel better and live longer. And that's what healthy diet and lifestyle can make possible. And so what we've seen over the years is that a lot of people get inspired, they get motivated, and then at some point habits kick in and they slide backwards. And we don't want to let that happen to you. So as we're moving into this new year, and we're talking about inspiration, motivation, and action, we want to help you to implement, sustain, and optimize your healthy plant-based lifestyle, not just now, but for your whole life. And that is why we created Whole Life Club, which is our ongoing membership community. So I'm just taking a few minutes now to tell you about it. If you're already a member, then I invite you to go ahead and post if you want to in the comment section, what does Whole Life Club mean for you and for your life? And if you're not yet, then this is an incredible opportunity, because right now, just during this challenge, Whole Life Club is on sale. See, normally it costs $49 a month or $497 a year. But right now it's on sale for just $1 for a 30-day trial. And then you're locked in. If you don't cancel, you get renewing at $197 a year, which is a 60% discount. See, we want to support you all in being powered by plants and reaping the benefits long term. So we're making this opportunity available during this challenge. And if you haven't already joined Whole Life Club, this is your time. And, you know, I want to tell you a little bit about what Whole Life Club includes. So, of course, you get a lot of support from our brilliant team. Every week, we send an action video and an action checklist to help you keep making progress. There's incredible community. There's recipes, more than 1,400 recipes in our library, but also every week we send 6 more that tie to that week's theme. Every month we have an interview with an incredible, brilliant expert where we dive deep into the topic of that month's theme. And Whole Life Club members can submit their questions, which we bring to those interviews. Dr. Brooke Goldner, who you saw earlier today, she's been one of our guests. We've had an incredible series of interviews. And when you join, you also get the whole library, all of the interviews we've done over the last 6 years. And then there's the community, there's the support from peers, and there's a whole series of live events that we host. Pretty much every week we host another live event, from cooking demos, community building sessions, opportunities to get your questions answered and engage with our brilliant team. Whole Life Club is really there to help keeping you having a wind at your back so you can keep making progress and loving your healthy lifestyle. So you can find out lots more about it if you click the link. I think we have a link on the page, or go to, what is it, wlc.foodrevolution.org/join. No, /whole. It's wlc.foodrevolution.org/whole. I believe that's the link. Is that right, Will? We're just checking to make sure we've got it right.
I do think that it is accurate.
It is accurate. I think you'll find it also linked. I think it's linked. Actually, I'm not sure if it's on the broadcast page, but be that as it may, you'll also get lots of emails from us with the link. And what I just want to say, folks, is that whatever you do, do not stick with the status quo if you're not in love with the status quo. You know, if what you're doing now is working fabulously and you feel like you're thriving, then rock on, and we want to support you and champion you. But if something's feeling a little off, You know, the best time to plant an apple tree is 30 years ago, but the next best time is right now. And you cannot afford the status quo because it is a fast track towards suffering, disease, and death. And we see that all around us. Most of the major chronic ailments of our times are preventable with healthier diet and lifestyle choices. You do not have to be a victim of the norm. You can step outside of that and make radically different choices and experience a radically different outcome for your health, for your mind, for your life. And that's why we're here, folks. So hopefully this challenge will be a kickstart to empower and support you on that journey. If you want to get the Powered by Plants cookbook, that can support you on the journey. And most of all, I think Whole Life Club is the place where we see the most powerful, radical, deep, profound transformations in people's lives. So thank you all so much for being here. And now we're going to jump to Q&A. Back to you, Will.
Thank you, Ocean. Yes, next on our agenda is the Q&A. I think it's so great that we are including this Q&A because we regularly offer Q&A in Whole Life Club as just one of our 4 different live events that we host each month for our members. So really excited that we can have a Q&A today. So as Ocean mentioned, if you haven't posted your questions, please do so now in the comment section. These can be questions about the demo that you saw Nicole perform. You can include other culinary related questions, nutrition questions, or even questions about Whole Life Club. We would absolutely welcome those as well. Of course, we can't answer any medical questions or offer treatment advice. We won't be able to get to all of the questions, but share away and let's get started. I actually have a couple that I already found, and Rosie, feel free to ask a couple that you may be seeing in the comment section as well. The first one's actually more of a technical question. Reem asked, is there a replay? Yes, there is a replay. You can watch the replay here on the broadcast page after the event by clicking on the video that you missed from the live challenge videos carousel. So after day 1, if you want to watch day 1, you'll click on day 1. If you missed tomorrow, after tomorrow's broadcast time, you'll be able to access day 1 and day 2, and so on and so forth. Estera asked, for the salad recipe, what can you use instead of hemp seeds? I want to kick that back to you, Nicole, if you're still with us. Instead of hemp seeds, what can we use as an alternative?
Yeah, thanks for the question, Estera. For sure, there are other, you can use another seed, like pumpkin seeds, just to get the diversity. You can use pumpkin seeds, you can use chia seeds, and flax meal. It's like flax seeds are great whole because you get the fiber, but when you grind the flax seeds, you get the omega-3. You access the omega-3s inside of that seed. So substituting chia seeds or flax meal can offer that same omega-3 benefit as the hemp seeds, but you can also just get another seed in there. So add more sunflower seeds, but again, for the diversity, pumpkin seeds. You could also just omit the hemp seeds. So if there's an ingredient in here that y'all are like, I don't like it, I can't find a substitution, you're still going to get 17 plant-based foods in that dish. So it's not, and there's so much in there, it's going to be delicious anyway. So if you can find a substitution, amazing. If not, if you have an allergy or something, omit that one food and you're going to get a plethora of delicious foods and ingredients in that dish, and nutrition in that dish.
Awesome. But I see that Valerie is precocious. She said, I'm so excited I couldn't help but start right away because I have most of the ingredients on hand. She made the 9-ingredient salad with kale, black beans, and basil and posted a picture. That's awesome, Valerie. And yeah, we're going to see those pictures flowing. Folks, you can come on back and get re-inspired. Come on back to the broadcast page as the day goes by, as well as posting your creation. You can see other people's creations and get the saliva flowing.
I love what Mary wrote as well. Mary said, the salad looks so amazing. I love a salad with loads of stuff. I cannot wait to try this dressing. I always struggle with finding a good dressing with little or no oil. So this dressing and the salad really does look so incredible.
Oh,
so
and just a little word of inspiration for dressings. Like a good dressing can make all the difference, really. It's like we keep dressings in our fridge all the time. And, you know, we have like a family favorite that we use on just about everything. And it can make a grain bowl taste amazing. You can put it on legumes, you can put it on grains, you can put it on kale, you can put it on cabbage, you can dip salad, you can have put it on salad, of course. We also do dip salads where we dip vegetables in the dressing, which is another fun way that our kids have always loved. So there's just so many things you can do with a good dressing that instantly transforms basic staples into culinary pleasure.
I love the dip salads because it also might be an excuse to be able to eat with your hands. And I know
Yeah.
that is
Well, that's the
sometimes,
thing. Our kids just they love eating with their hands, maybe a little too much, but yeah.
I think that's wonderful. Nicole, I've got a question about kale and calcium and oxalates in just a moment, but I do want to read a couple Whole Life Club comments that I saw in here, and then I'll jump back to that question for you, Nicole. But Moni said, the Whole Life Club, I consider my family. It is a wonderful group of people. And I do want to thank Moni. Thank you so much for that comment, for being part of the Whole Life Club. I share the sentiments. I do consider it the whole community like family
Yeah.
as well. So
Yeah.
I echo that. And then Charlene said, Whole Life Club is amazing. We get a lot of support, have the chance to exchange with others, other very interesting people. Very happy to be part of it. Thank you, Charlene, as well. Nicole, back to that question. So Ka wrote, doesn't cooking kale make the calcium more accessible? There's a part two to that, but let's start with that one. Doesn't cooking kale make the calcium more accessible?
Yeah, thanks for that question, Ka. I think again we might be talking about the oxalates, and they're very low in kale. So whether you eat raw or cooked kale, you're going to get a ton of calcium. If we're talking like cup to cup comparison, when you cook kale, it shrinks down a lot. So if you're filling a full cup of kale with a full cup with cooked kale, you're getting actually even more calcium in there because it's just shrunken down, and you're probably getting like 3 cups down to 1 cup. And there's so much calcium in kale. And because kale is low in oxalates, it's highly available. So take dairy milk is often a go-to for calcium, but the absorption of dairy milk is like 30%. The absorption of calcium in dairy milk is about 30% compared to kale. It's about 60 to 65%. So looking at like that cooked cup, you can get exponentially more just because it's shrunken down. But again, going back to whatever way you love it, there are many plant-based foods that are high in calcium in addition to kale. Oranges that we just added to this recipe today is super powered with calcium between the kale and the oranges and the hemp seeds. I mean, you've got so much calcium in this salad alone.
Awesome. Well, you actually kind of spoke to part two because you were right. It was about oxalate. So we'll skip that part two. But Kelly asked, is that salad for one person or a family? How much of that salad should we eat? It looks amazing.
Yeah, it's big. It's a big salad, Kelly. I know. I was looking at the serving size and it said two. I'm like, well, that's definitely, I always base it off of what, it's so subjective what we eat, or what, for a tinier person, for a child, that might be 4 portions in there. So it just depends, Kelly. Like that is a good salad for 2 people if you're going to eat that as a meal, because it has the whole grain in it and lots of protein, and it has all of those vegetables. It is a satisfying salad from a flavor perspective, from a texture perspective, and from a nutrition perspective. So it's good to split that in two for a meal. If you have a family of 4, it could be more like a side salad to another dish. Or you double the recipe and you have enough for all 4 people.
We're in our final minute here, so probably have like one last question.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Ocean. And thank you, Nicole, for answering all of these. And this is great. This is a little snapshot into what Whole Life Club members get when they are in our Q&A live events or our in the kitchen cooking demos. So this is exciting. Christina asked, why did we need to soak the cashews for the creamy citrus dressing for 4 to 6 hours? Listening to Nicole on 30 Days Plant-Based, does it matter that I don't always buy organic? It's very expensive here in Switzerland. So curious about those 2 questions.
I'll address the organic one and then wrap if you want to address the soaking question, Nicole.
Yeah, soaking cashews. I feel like 4 to 6 hours, we've kind of like experimented with this a little bit, to be honest with you. And I think 1 to 2 hours is giving us a creamy result that we want. And the reason for soaking them is to get the cashews are naturally creamy because of their fat content, but when you soak them, it makes them even creamier. When you're using a high-speed blender, it doesn't really make a big difference. I find that even not soaking the cashews, if you have something like a Blendtec or a Vitamix, it blends it really well. It gets it extra creamy without soaking them. But if you don't, you can soak the cashews in I would say, if you boil water and soak them for 30 minutes, that's good because the water's hot and it's going to penetrate those cashews even more. If it's room temperature water, soak for maybe an hour or two, drain the water, and you'll just get a creamier consistency if you're using a traditional blender or a food processor to blend the cashews. And it may take some more scraping down the sides and blending to get that real creamy consistency.
Awesome, Nicole. And now about organic, a lot of people ask about this. There's a lot of good reasons to eat organic if you can afford it and if you can access it, including reducing pesticide exposure for your health and body, reducing pesticide exposure for farm workers and for the environment, contributing to a more sustainable planet, potentially increased nutrient potency in the foods that you eat. But don't make the perfect the enemy of the good. We have so many studies showing incredible health benefits from eating fruits and vegetables. Most of the fruits and vegetables eaten in those studies were not grown organically, and people still thrived when they ate them. So, do the best you can. And if you are eating non-organically grown and pesticide-sprayed leafy greens and fruits in particular, it's probably advisable to soak them in a solution of a gallon of water to 1 tablespoon of baking soda for 5 to 10 minutes. That gets about 90% of the pesticide residue off of the food, which can be of benefit. But again, do the best you can. And if you're accessing frozen or you can't do that, still eat your veggies, eat your plants. That's why we're here, to be powered by plants. So again, a reminder, everybody, to make the recipes, do the homework, make it happen in your life, make any one of or even both of the recipes, post your pictures, post your comments, share the love. We'll be back tomorrow to take the next step with more brilliant wisdom and to also give away prizes for folks who posted from today's recipes. And let's make this happen. And go ahead and check out Whole Life Club if you haven't yet joined. This is your time. We're wishing you all joy and beauty and vitality and lots of plant power. Thanks for joining us today. See you tomorrow.